Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the happiest hour on earth. We're so excited that you're here with us today. We have a really fun episode that we are going to be talking about because earlier this week, there were some news reports that Splash Mountain was going to be closing May 6th in Disneyland. And then a few hours later, they were like, actually, I don't think it is. So
it was just rumors.
Just rumors. So we still don't know when it's going to be closed, but we're still going to do an episode on this because we are going to be talking about should Disney retheme rides. And so we're going to take this from multiple different angles, talking about some that have been in the past. Are there going to be any more in the future? And what should be rethemed? And so we are so excited to jump into this topic. So let's just go ahead and get started.
All right, so before we jump into our topic, we made a snack for tonight. We made churros, as we have done on the show before. These are the Tio Pepe churros that are the ones found in Disneyland, which is amazing. And you can find them at Smart and Final, which was not something that we were aware of until we started our show. And a good friend of ours let us know that you could do that. Very exciting to know. In case you weren't aware of that, go ahead to Smart and Final because I think they have packs of like 50. So we just have them in our freezer for a good while, and then we'll just
whenever we're missing the parks. Yeah, and your whole house smells like Disneyland, which is the best. And it takes like 5 minutes.
Yeah, they literally bake for 5 minutes. You just roll them in the sugar, and you're good to go. And
it tastes exactly
just like being in Disneyland.
Churro. It's so awesome.
It's amazing. Yeah. So we just decided to go for those tonight. So not anything super exciting for you all to see, but we're still gonna cheers because we have to cheers.
Yes. Yeah.
Cheers. Churro cheers. Tastes like Disneyland.
Still just as amazing.
Mm-hmm. So good.
So good.
So we've kind of decided recently that the snack and drink weekly situation might be a bit much to handle at this point. Finding new recipes, buying new ingredients every week adds up. It's just kind of a lot to plan that out, plan the episode out, and get it all done within a week each week. So we've kind of decided that we might taper back a little bit on the snack and drink game plan and maybe just go for once a month-ish. Maybe more every so often, but that's kind of our plan at the moment because it's a bit.
We're trying to figure it out. Like maybe there'll be times where we try every other week, or maybe there'll be a time where we do 3 episodes without, and then the one that we do with a snack, maybe we do a snack and a drink. You kind of do like a feast episode.
Just get it
kind of get it in there. It's really hard with the turnaround, especially doing weekly, trying to think of an episode topic and then also a recipe. And we've done so many amazing recipes. So it's a little bit harder to find recipes that work with our schedule. So we love doing them. It's still going to be a part of our show, but it might not be as much, especially because it does get really expensive.
It does, especially with the alcoholic beverages. Alcohol's not cheap, guys. And if you have to buy weekly new stuff, it adds up really quick. And we realized it might be a little too much for us at the moment. Yeah. But we'll still be doing it, just not quite as often.
Yeah. And we've done so many recipes in the past, and we're still going to be doing some. But if you want, go to our Instagram page, go to our guides section, which is, I think, third in on our Instagram page, and we have broken them down by cocktails, mocktails, snacks, and seasonal snacks. We've done a lot more than just those ones that are in there, but it's a nice, easy way for you to, if you want to make a Disney snack or a drink, just scroll through there, and there's so many in there. And then there's even more in our Reels section. So definitely go check that out. Because we've done like pretty much all the main ones. So go check those out. But again, if there are any recipes that you want us to make, hit us up because we would love to make them for sure.
Suggestions are always welcome, especially when we're maybe scrambling to decide what we want to make. It's always good to have suggestions. If you guys have anything that you want to see made at home, please let us know.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So as we jump in, should Disney retheme rides? And so this is a big topic. We're not going to necessarily say, yes, they should. No, they shouldn't. Because I think it really
Very
goes by a case.
situational.
Yeah. Very situational. And so we're going to look back on kind of the more recent ride replacements that they've done. And we're talking ride retheme. So there's a lot of rides that got totally shut down, gutted, and then it's a new attraction. We're mainly talking about rethemes where, new animatronics, new show scenes, but the track is basically the same. And that's a lot of what we're going to be talking about here. So we're going to be talking about those, whether they were good or not. We're going to talk about the current rethemes that are kind of underway. And then we're going to be talking about ride rethemes that we could see happening. And we got some awesome suggestions from our listeners. So shout out to you guys who listen to our show and just engage with us on Instagram, because you guys put some amazing suggestions out here. But yeah, I really think it comes down to a case by case basis. And, when something kind of isn't relevant anymore and maybe it is not getting the attention that they would like it to, I think going that route could definitely, benefit that ride. And the other thing is that I feel like any retheme that they do is going to be like IP based. So something that's within their intellectual property. So, if there's like Matterhorn for one example, if that's a non-IP ride, it's just like a ride based on a mountain, right? Pirates was non-IP, but I think anything that they do, it's going to be introducing a ride with new characters. So any retheme that you're going to see is going to be something, I believe, that will have a character that's within their realm, so that's going to be very interesting to see what they do. And so we have some suggestions soon near the end of this video that will introduce some Disney characters into some rides. And so super excited to talk about that. But first, do we want to talk about some recent ride replacements that have happened?
Yeah, some recent, some not as recent, but still within, the last probably decade or so. But yeah, the first one that we're going to talk about is the retheme from Maelstrom to Frozen Ever After in Epcot. Yeah. So we personally never got to ride Maelstrom. I think I'm saying that right. That's correct, isn't it?
It sounds perfect.
Okay. But I know that it was a favorite among a lot of people. And
your cousin too.
My cousin was very bummed when they changed it. And I'm sure a lot of people that were fans of that ride were pretty bummed when it was taken away. So we don't have as strong of an opinion about it since we didn't get to ride it ourselves, and we like Frozen a lot. Yeah. The retheme we think was done really well. I love that ride. I thought it was really immersive and fun, and I think a good addition to Epcot. It's fitting where it is. But, obviously to each their own. Some people are just going to miss the old one, and that's that.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing is that like Epcot, a lot of people wanted to see Epcot as like a Disney park, but it kind of kept the Disney characters out of it.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Maelstrom was really about like a whole bunch of lore within Norway and all these like, old tales. And then so when you change it to Frozen Ever After, I think people got mad at that. Some people loved it. Some people weren't as enthusiastic about it, but at least it fits, right? Like Frozen is set within those islands that Norway, right? That country, somewhere around there. I mean, Arendelle is not real, but in that area. And so it fits, so that's something that I can't really be mad at, because that was a clever use of bringing in a Disney property into the ride. And so we really love that ride. It is really fun. And like you said, we didn't go on Maelstrom, but I think that's like a good ride that's turned into a good ride. Sometimes we see good rides that turn into bad rides, or bad rides that are turned into a good ride. But I think for this case, this is like a good ride. It's like a good trade-off.
Yeah.
Even if you might be mad, it's a good trade-off. Yeah.
Yeah.
But next up, we got California Screamin' over in our side on Disneyland, into Incredicoaster. And so obviously it makes sense. Pixar Pier is all changing.
Mhm.
And the only ride that makes sense, or Disney property that makes sense for Screamin', is Incredibles, right? Going
Mhm.
fast like Dash and kind of doing that super human thing. And so
Yeah.
when we heard about it, we were super excited. We liked the ride, but we don't think it was executed as well as it could have been. But the thing is this, it's an outdoor roller coaster, you know, with rides like Rock and Roller Coaster, it's inside, so you can make it dark. You could hide everything.
Feels more immersive.
Yeah, having the show around you, you know, you could hide the things that are keeping them up and in place. With Incredicoaster, when we went, it just kind of felt, you know, you would see the poles that were holding Jack up. You could, you know, they were talking and their mouth wasn't moving. Like it could have been even better if you saw their face moving, like the video projection that they do with a lot of rides, or because they were not going to do, I think, a full animatronic.
Yeah,
you're going by so quick, but it takes you out of it when you're going past and they're talking and their mouths are just stationary. So
yeah, and they're not really moving much.
Yeah, we were kind of like, maybe at night it would be really good. I don't think we've ever ridden it at night because usually World of Color is on and they shut down Pixar Pier for that. But that's, a lot of people do like Incredicoaster. Think it was done well. We still like the ride, but that's one where it just kind of felt a little half-hearted.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember going on it and just feeling kind of like that was fine. But I always loved California Screamin', so I kind of just missed it. Some people love it, so that's all that matters. You're never gonna please every single person, right?
Yeah, and it fit within that land.
It does. It fits. So the next one we're talking about is the Great Movie Ride into Runaway Railway in Hollywood Studios in Walt Disney World. So the Great Movie Ride was, I had to think of what I was saying there, was a favorite among a lot of people. I think it was a pretty fun one from what we've heard. Another one that we never got to ride, but Runaway Railway, I think, is quickly becoming a favorite among a lot of people because it's Mickey. I mean, Mickey deserves rights in the park, and I think everybody loves the fact that we finally have some ride representation for him there and now here as well in Disneyland. So yeah, I think it was a good switch.
Yeah, I really wish I was able to ride Great Movie Ride though.
Yeah,
I mean, like
I
the
know,
fact that
sad.
there's live actors in it, and there was, you know, like the animatronics were really good in it. It seemed, and it fit Hollywood Studios so well.
How
that would
long
have been...
was it closed? How long had the Great Movie Ride been gone before?
Oh no, they closed it intentionally to do it. To do Mickey's Runaway Railway.
So
when we went in 2018, it was closed, being changed to Mickey's Runaway Railway. Yeah.
I didn't realize it had been that long.
Yeah.
So it hadn't been long before that the Great Movie Ride was still there then. I don't know why I thought it had been there like a long time ago.
Yeah, and that's one we never got to ride because we visited in 2018 when it was closed, but I always heard great things about that ride, and it would have been great. See, that's the one thing that's so hard with the cool thing about our Runaway Railway that's in Disneyland is nothing was closed to make that ride. Like it wasn't like Roger Rabbit's cartoon spin was closed and then they made Runaway Railway. In Hollywood Studios, they had to close a very well-loved ride to do Runaway Railway, but everyone that I've heard, or everyone that's been on it, I've only heard great things about it, and we're excited to finally go on it once we go to Disneyland again soon. So I'm really, really excited to ride it, but it is really nice to get a Mickey ride in there for sure.
I agree.
But next up, we got Superstar Limo to Mike and Sully to the rescue, Monsters Inc.
A good switch.
A very good switch. We already have talked about Superstar Limo in our top 5 worst rides, Disney rides. Maybe I'll pop it up on here on YouTube so that you guys can watch that episode because it was really fun talking about the terrible things that Disney has done, because Disney has done a lot of good things, but you know, it is rare that you get some worst, you know, some terrible ride ideas. And so it's always fun talking about those.
Exactly. And it definitely was very fitting for that time in California adventure history because everything was a little bit off,
A little bit
at that
wonky.
time.
Yeah.
So it kind of made sense that that ride was there at that time.
Yeah.
I can't imagine it being there at any other time in Disney history.
Yeah.
I
Mike
mean,
and Sully to the rescue is such a great
it's
ride.
so fun.
An incredible switch. So
Yes,
props to
definitely.
Disney
Not much
for
else to say.
switching that out.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Next one is soaring over California to soaring around the world. So I feel like I'm kind of split on this one. I think a lot of people are because both versions of the ride are great. There's no denying it. It's just an amazing ride all around. I tend to always just love the classics of things, of ones that I have been on. Obviously, the ones in Disney World are things I can't speak on as much if I haven't been on them. But soaring over California was always a favorite. I just loved that it was so many different areas of California. I've lived here my whole life. I just loved getting to see all the different terrain and, you know, just settings and things around this beautiful state. So I miss soaring over California, but
We do get
they
it back.
bring it back.
sometimes.
Yeah, I
which
was
is so
gonna
awesome.
say, like,
Food and Wine Festival, they usually bring it back. So
yeah, so like once a
April
year, I
time, yeah.
guess it's back.
I'm happy with that. Like,
I think that's cool. I'm glad that they even do that because they could just say, no, it's gone forever. It's done.
yeah,
But it's cool that they heard the people
yeah.
say that they missed it. And now we at least get it every so often.
And I like the visuals of soaring around the world.
Yeah.
I wish that we had better smells. Like soaring over
Mhm.
California, the smells are so
my
much
gosh.
better. Like this one, it's like dirt and like rose and
Yeah.
like not too many others, but it's like weird smells. Like soaring over California,
Mm-hmm.
just
So
the smells
good.
are so
The
amazing,
Orange groves,
so incredible.
the
And then
ocean.
soaring around the world, you also get the perspective change or whatever.
Yeah.
So like when you see the Eiffel
Paris.
Tower, if you are not center, that
It's a
thing
very-
looks like a little bendy Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
and I remember we would always try to get the middle and then the front, and then people said, "Oh, the Eiffel Tower is like bending," and I was like, "No, it's not." And then one time we got like the left or the right, and I was like, "Oh, there it is. There
Yes,
it is." And the closer you
is.
get to it, it's like, yeah, "Okay, there."
Yeah,
we go.
it finally evens
Really
out. but it's
weird. That is so weird. Like
a
for
bummer
people-
that they can't just figure out how to fix that because
I
it
d-
is
yeah,
pretty weird when
I
you're
know.
sitting on the side. You're like,
It is so
"What about the
strange.
Eiffel Tower?"
Yeah. What is this thing? But anyways, yeah, I think a lot of people prefer California, but I like seeing the around the world. But
Yeah.
but there's just
It's a
something
great
so special
concept.
about California and the music. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's pretty similar to
Yeah,
the world, but
I feel like the music is similar.
the
but yeah, there's
smells is a
something
big
about-
thing.
Yeah, the OG is just, it's always going to be a favorite.
It is.
So when we go next, will it
I don't
be
know.
back?
We're going in May. I'm not sure if it's. I know it starts in April. I think so. It might go
Maybe.
through then, but
Maybe.
we'll see. Maybe we'll get a.
Yeah,
Get it
we'll
right.
find
But
out.
next up, we have Mr. Toad's Wild Ride to the Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh in Magic Kingdom. I love Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh. We switched that out with we got Pooh and switched it out with what's it called? Country Bear Jamboree, which I think was a better switch.
Mhm.
But you know, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride,
I feel like it's
it's so
kind of
awesome.
controversial.
yeah.
Some people love it. Some
It's
people
like,
absolutely hate it.
Do you want to go to hell or do you want to eat some honey? And so I think that was kind of like an even trade-off. And the thing is, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride in Disney World wasn't like the original. Like it wasn't the Disneyland one that got switched. So yeah, I think it was an original at Magic Kingdom, but it wasn't, you know, the true OG.
Mhm.
So I think that switch is kind of is fine.
Yeah,
Like I'm fine with that.
I
Yeah.
agree. I think so. I love the Winnie the Pooh ride. It's a fun ride. It's so cute.
It's more, yeah, you could take your kid on that. Like, I don't want to take my kid on Mr. Toad's Wild Ride necessarily.
Yeah.
You know, even though we love that ride because it's the weirdest
We're
thing in the
more
world.
likely to take him on Winnie the Pooh for
Yeah.
sure. It's more kid friendly, I would say.
On that topic, if you haven't listened to our weirdest Disneyland ride, our weirdest Disney ride episode, we talk about Mr. Toad's Wild Ride because
Mhm.
you grab a drink at the bar, evade the police, and go to hell. And that definitely puts it and the weirdest, but there's even
definitely
weirder ones.
fits.
So definitely go check that out.
Yeah.
that was a wild
fun
episode for sure.
Yeah. Next up, though, we're talking about Swiss Family Robinson Treehouse turning into Tarzan, which is also now going to be changing, and we'll be talking about that later. But I never got to see the old one.
I might have, but I didn't remember
like
it.
if I did, I was really young, and it definitely doesn't stick out in my memory. I always liked the movie Swiss Family Robinson when I was a kid. I used to watch it, but I am much more emotionally connected to Tarzan, so I am very happy that it has been Tarzan for so many years.
Yeah.
Didn't go up there all the time, but when I did, I always loved it. I loved the music and just the
walking by
atmosphere.
the tree and hearing the music is always so cool.
So good. It was really well done, and very sad that it's changing again because Tarzan has nothing else in the park, and I feel like
it's such an amazing movie.
So good. I mean, I absolutely love that movie. So it makes me really sad that nothing else will be there for Tarzan unless they decide to add something else. But I kind of doubt it at this point. It's so
weird because like I was about to say, Swiss Family Robinson to Tarzan. I was like, people were kind of over the Swiss Family Robinson thing. So you bring in a new property.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's been decades since Tarzan came out, but I don't want to let go of it. Yet they're changing it to something. But they're not even changing it to something new, which we'll talk about in a little bit briefly. But there was rumors that it was going to be Encanto, which would have been really cool, for the younger kids and stuff. But they're not even going that route, which is also kind of cool because they're going to like
they're going very
non-IP,
creative.
kind of property. But
yeah,
I'm really curious
to see.
Yeah, but our son loves Tarzan, so it would have been so cool to take him on the treehouse.
Yeah, he
but
never got to see it.
Yeah.
That's so sad.
I know. I love it.
I didn't
He
even
would
think
have
about
loved seeing Tarzan and Sabor. Sabor was in there. Oof.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that was scary.
It was such a fun treehouse. So.
Yeah. So good. Next up, we got the submarine voyage and into Finding Nemo. And so, one interesting thing here is that I forgot if the submarine voyage was like out of commission for a while. But it wasn't getting the audience that they wanted. And so they were trying to figure out what to put here. And they were for a while considering doing Atlantis. And then after a while, like Atlantis didn't get the buzz that they wanted. So they're like, we can't do that. And they held off for a while. And then in 2003, I believe, I could be wrong. Don't come after me. But I believe it's 2003. Finding Nemo came out and they're like, that's what we need to switch it to. And so I had gone on the original submarine voyage, but I was so young. So I don't really remember too much of it. I remember there was like a sea monster, I believe, some mermaids and stuff. But I think that's another great one where, I don't know, where you introduce a Disney property and it just complements the ride. It is really cool.
Totally.
Don't really care for the ride. I get claustrophobic. I don't like to be, especially post Pandy. Like I don't want to be.
Yeah, we're not
in
trying
this
to be
trapped little vessel.
With that many people that close.
Yeah, but
singing.
seeing it is so beautiful. I love watching the submarines go by, and it is a really cool ride. Like looking at the porthole and seeing all the stuff.
I've always
really
enjoyed
cool,
it. If you can try to like not think about the fact that you're all crammed into one tiny space,
putting your face right
just
on
like
top of like the little chin thing that everyone else is on their chin.
Yeah, if you can get out of that mindset, it is a really cool ride. But we don't generally go on it that much.
Yeah,
our son would probably love it, but
you would.
Not sure if it's going to be happening.
Yeah, it's cramped in there.
It is very cramped. Yeah, even just like loading in and like walking in, I'm always like, I get a little bit of anxiety. Just like,
let me out of here.
I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think it was a good switch. It makes sense to be there.
This last one, let's go.
Yeah, we've got thoughts.
And there might be some that we had missed of like a traditional like Retheme. One of the ones I was thinking of was like Adventures Through Inner Space to Star Tours, but it wasn't really a Retheme as a whole overhaul. But we might have missed some, but these are the ones that stuck out. But this one was interesting. Yeah. Because we had some strong, you especially had some strong feelings about this. But,
let's talk about it.
Let's talk.
So Tower of Terror being switched to Mission Breakout. This was heartbreaking.
You were so upset.
When it was first announced, I was like in disbelief for so long. I was like, they cannot change that ride. They cannot. It is exquisite. Like it was so perfect. Perfect. It was the first ride like that I'd ever been on. Like I never liked dropping rides until I rode Tower of Terror. And that just like completely changed my feelings about dropping rides.
It was a perfect ride.
It was so good. Just so immersive. The cast members, they got you so in the zone for it. Everything about it was just perfect. Then they changed it. Thankfully, it's still in Disney World. Very thankful for that. I really hope that it stays because
we need at least one.
Yeah. If they decide to change that one day, my heart will break again.
Yeah.
But Mission Breakout, on the other hand, is a great ride. I was in denial. I did not want to ride it for a long time. When it first came out, even just in the queue, the first time I rode it, I was just like, I don't care. I don't want to do it. I was so mad.
She was being a little grumpy.
I was being grumpy, but it is a great ride. It's very fun.
Okay, you cannot. When I remember her just like not having it, oh, this is stupid. We're in the line, and then when it starts off and that music hits, and then you shoot up, there's no way to be mad.
You can't not have fun. I mean, it is a really fun ride, and I love
it's so fun.
The one thing, I mean, theming wise, I still personally would choose Tower of Terror. I just think the spookiness factor of it is just so perfect. But I loved how they switched kind of the dropping sequences that you immediately start drop, or not even dropping, that you go up right away, like before you can even like get yourself ready for it. And then that like the whole time you're still moving. Like even when you pause in those spots where, you know, you see all the characters and stuff, you're still kind of like levitating and you can feel the movement. So you're like, when am I going to drop? Like it's really well done. And Tower of Terror was always just kind of like you would stop and then drop again. And like it was a little more like jerky, not jerky, but just different. I love the way that Guardians does it.
Yeah. And
I'm split. I don't know.
I mean,
I still know what my favorite
ride
is. I will say though, going on it in Disney World proved to me that one is better than the one that we had here in Disneyland, because it I think is random, right?
Oh, yeah,
the drops are
random,
randomized. There's a whole sequence at the beginning that we never had here, like where you move forward and go through a really creepy room. It was done even better than the one here, and that one came out first. Yeah, it was the first
in the 90s.
That's crazy.
So crazy.
So that one being the OG, I'm glad that it's still there. Hope it stays there. Sad ours is gone, but it's cool that I guess we have something different on each coast.
And this is a great testament to the fact that, you know, sometimes Disney might say, hey, we're doing a retheme, and everyone gets upset. Like, we were so upset when they're like, Tower of Terror is going away and we're bringing in Guardians of the Galaxy.
I was like,
what are you doing? What do you do? I mean, I love the movies, but it was still like, no, this is terrible. What is going on? But there's a testament where you could be so anti, you know, just so, oh, what are they doing? And then they actually create a good ride. And you're like, okay, I have so much fun on this ride. We could bring that back to what's happening now with Splash Mountain into Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And I think the main thing is, if you are going to do a retheme, make it good. Because there has been some rethemes that have felt half-hearted, like we've talked about. Mm-hmm. And this is going to be a staple. This is going to be something that's here for decades, even more. Mm-hmm. So you better do the best you can with this. And, you know, I guess with this, we're going to jump into the current rethemes. When we first heard about Splash Mountain, it was like, it almost seemed like an untouchable ride. How dare you touch this ride that we've all grown up with? And that just feels so quintessential Disney. Mm-hmm. And I think the interesting thing is that we never correlated Splash Mountain to the Song of the South. We never even knew that movie existed.
Yeah.
I did not know. I thought
think
it was
most people
literally,
didn't.
I was like, oh, these are just some characters from like an old, I
Like
I
an
had
old
no
kid.
idea. I had no idea. They really did a good job at hiding that movie where you didn't know what it was. Some people just thought it was like original characters for the ride.
Yeah.
Um,
That's definitely what I thought. I had no idea where they came from
yeah.
all my life.
And hearing the music, like it's a hard thing because like not hearing Zippity Doo Dah like in the parks anymore
That
is
breaks
so
my
hard
heart.
because like
even
we
just
didn't.
walking around like the Esplanade and
Yeah.
through the parks, I feel like I would hear it all the time. And that's just one of my favorite Disney songs, like from a ride.
Yeah, and
it's
there was
kind
no
of
correlation
heartbreaking.
to the movie and everything. And
Yeah.
so when they said that that was closing, at first we were like, how could they? And it still feels weird because it does feel like a classic attraction, even though it didn't open and till decades after the park
Yeah.
opened in 55. And so we are torn. We are very excited for Tiana's Bayou Adventure. And we are coming to the grips that like for us, we grew up with it, not even knowing about the movie correlation. But for future generations, Tiana's Bayou Adventure is going to be their Splash and they're going to love it. So like when these 10-year-olds who never went on Splash, or I guess, I don't know, 5-year-olds? I don't know. I tried to see who went on it, but those kids are going to grow up loving this log flume ride with a character that they love so much that when they have kids, that's going to be a classic to them. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, like this, I grew up on Tiana's Bayou Adventure. Love it so much. And they're going to create new memories and we're going to create new memories with the ride as well. And we love Princess and the Frog. So it is a weird situation because it wasn't like, because we didn't know about any of the history of it. We just loved the attraction. So saying goodbye to these characters that we love seeing in the music is so hard, but
I have no doubt that they're going to do it well. I can't wait to go on it for the first time. I'm sure they're going to blow us away. And I'm sure that there's going to be aspects of it that feel very similar to Splash, just with different characters and stuff. I'm sure that they'll keep a lot of the animatronics and the boat. I'm assuming they'll keep that riverboat, right?
Yeah. Oh no, the river. Yeah.
Like that's gotta stay. That would be a huge thing to remove. And it like makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I think there's something like that even in the movie. So
yeah,
I think a lot of it's going to feel the same. It'll feel different, but there will be similarities. And I am really excited to see what they do. It's very, very, very bittersweet. One of the most bittersweet things happening to Disneyland, or that has happened or will happen probably. Splash has been a favorite of so many people for so long.
Yeah.
So it's going to be different. But yeah, I mean, we'll all create new memories with it. So
I'm sure a lot of people feel the same as us where, and it's tied to, just our childhood too, riding it so many times, taking that splash photo. That's the photo you want to get. Like other photos are fun, but that's the one that you want to get.
One.
So you create these emotional ties to the ride, not the actual movie property. And so seeing something like that you grew up with change is really hard. But then when you look at it, you're like, okay, I think for the future, this is still going to be great. And I'm just glad that like Tiana gets her own ride. And I think it fits so well. I hope that kind of New Orleans Square kind of goes all the way to there.
I think it will.
I love that Tiana's restaurant's coming to New Orleans Square as well.
We called that. I was so excited to hear that they were actually going to do that because I was like, how could they not? There's like a couple of restaurants in that area. They have to like theme one of them for Tiana.
And it's honestly one of our favorite movies. So I know the music's going to be amazing as well. Yeah. I just hope that I just want them to do the best they can. Like there's a lot of new animatronics that you see in like international parks that are done so well. Tiana better be one of those, everything but the interesting thing is that like it's not the movie in a ride, which I kind of like doing the movie in a ride because you get to relive that movie in a physical environment, but it's going to be like a continuation of the story. So I'm curious to
kind of
see how
interesting.
that plays out. Because a lot of the fantasy rides, like the princess rides and stuff like that,
it follows.
it is the
story.
movie. Yeah. So I really hope that we still feel that same charm that we do with the movie with the ride. But, you know, because that means there's no frogs. There's no them turning into humans again, which would have been a really cool scene. There's no, is Dr. Facilier not around anymore because he dies in the movie? So maybe we don't. We were always saying when we go up that hill, it's going to be a Dr. Facilier scene with the shadows and stuff.
Yeah,
well,
it would have. Like, who else is
But
it
now
gonna
it's not
be?
going to, right? Because
in
the movie he dies, and so are we not going to see that in that scene? But you still need a perilous moment in that scene, or else it's going to just feel weird because it leads up to this big drop. So I don't know. I'm very curious to see what they do, but I know that they have a story, and they're going all in on this story. So I'm curious to see what they have planned for that.
A lot remains to be seen with Tiana's Bayou adventure.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure when that's gonna open because we don't even
Late
know.
2024.
Late 2024. So next year.
Yeah, next year.
I wonder.
And
I mean, they must be working on stuff.
I think the animatronics must be like at an offsite thing, and then they bring it in.
Yeah, that would make sense. And you know, a lot of the stuff that they'll probably still use that's in the ride currently. So I guess, if they're already working on it, then I could see it being done by that time. It'll be interesting. I am excited to ride it. So we have definitely talked a lot about it.
I know. It's a huge thing right now.
Big hot topic at the moment. So we
don't have to go on too much about this next one.
Yeah, we already kind of talked about it a little bit. But the Tarzan treehouse turning into the Adventureland treehouse, which is going to be basically themed around I just blanked.
Oh, well, so there's multiple things. So it does say something about like, it says something about like the original treehouse that was in Disneyland. It's like modeled after. I thought they said something about Swiss Family Robinson too, but we saw some things in the concept art that points back to the Society of Explorers and Adventurers, which is a fake secret society within a lot of Disney parks. Think like National Treasure meets Disney. And so there were some signs of that. So I feel like
I guess we don't have a lot of details yet about what it's going to be. I don't know how it could take that long for it to be. It feels like it's been closed forever. And it's just a tree house. It's not even like a ride. So I'm like, how could it take that long to just retheme the tree house? I have no idea. I kind of wonder if they're still figuring out what they want to do.
Like, how much do we want to go? Like, do we want to go all in on this, like, fake society thing?
Yeah.
That a lot of like very deep cut Disney fans will know about. Do we want to go in on that? Or are we going to do it more like Swiss Family Robinson? Do we just want to do it like a classic treehouse with no Disney property in it? Like,
whatever they're doing, I feel like they're trying to do something that they won't feel like they need to retheme again for a long time. Like, I think they just want something that they feel like won't be like grown out of. It'll just be something that fits there that they can leave for a long time.
Yeah. Which is kind of cool that they're going back to, when Disneyland opened, Haunted Mansion, Pirates, Thunder, Matterhorn, all these things, Space Mountain, were not, Disney properties. It was original concepts. And so that's kind of cool that they're going back to an original concept. Although I am going to miss Tarzan because that was, millennials love the Tarzan.
So good. We love Tarzan.
Yeah. But with that, should we jump into, I guess not the possibilities yet, quickly off-limit rides? Are there any rides that are off limits? We talked about this. I think all classic rides, except Autopia, which was an opening day attraction, should not be rethemed. Although they can have updates, like Pirates of the Caribbean. That was not rethemed, but they did add an update because of the success of the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise.
Mm-hmm. And even since then, there's been a few updates.
Yeah, I'm fine
changed,
with updates,
and it's fine. Yeah, like as long as they're not changing the overall theme or changing something really drastically, I'm fine with it. Things do need updates every so often. You got to keep things interesting and a little more exciting, I guess.
Yeah.
So
and like I'm curious with Haunted Mansion, the movie opening up. They didn't do it with Eddie Murphy when that movie came out. They didn't do anything, but let's just say
it's gonna be better.
New Haunted Mansion movie turns out to be really good. Is there going to be an aspect or two that they bring into the ride? If it's minimal, I could see that happening and it won't change the story or the feel that much. But so little things like that, I feel like they can update, but they're not going to like fully retheme a ride, you know? And if they do, it could be an overlay, just like Space Mountain gets a Star Wars overlay sometimes, or Ghost Galaxy. Haunted Mansion gets the Nightmare Before Christmas just for a specific time. I'm fine with something that's for a limited time.
Yeah.
But is not going to like drastically change the ride forever.
Changing it. Yeah, altering it like for good.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. So should we jump into some possibilities?
Yeah, sure. So we did get a lot of responses from our Instagram followers on what they would like to see replaced.
Yeah.
One that got quite a few responses was Autopia.
Yeah.
As we were mentioning, it was an opening day attraction, so kind of crazy to think of it not being there anymore, but it's kind of outdated at this point. I mean, you know, obviously a classic, but could use a little bit of extra attention, I guess. So we had at Ryback Debbie say Autopia needs electric cars if we're in the future.
I totally agree with that.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think that would be pretty cool to see as well. We also had at Rox Lehman say Autopia is just screaming for a Wreck-It Ralph theme. I had not thought of that. Didn't occur to me, but sounds like that would be a fun one.
They have that big race in the movie.
There is a big race. Yeah. So
totally
we'd get some like candy themed cars, I guess.
Yeah.
Like that would be a fun
awesome.
Retheme. Either one of those are definitely fun options.
Yeah, I love it. And I do think like that electric vehicle definitely needs to happen. You know, for the future kind of thing.
Yeah, those cars are pretty old. The smell, I think we all
like
love it.
Slightly nostalgic, but it's like kind of gross.
But yeah, it's like, oh, that is kind of probably not great for the environment.
Yeah,
I guess it'd be good to get some electric car action. So maybe we'll see some Autopia stuff.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome. So next up, we got Tough to Be a Bug in the Tree of Life in Animal Kingdom, and at Live Learn Dream Magic said a Zootopia retheme would be really cool. And I agree because I don't like bugs. I like animals. I don't like bugs. I don't want to be stung. I don't want to be tooted on by a stink bug. I would be fine. And if you do a Zootopia, there could be a tiny little bug sequence.
Yeah, if somebody really wants to have their bugs.
Yeah, we could put that in for like a little callback. But other animals could be cool in the Tree of Life because the Tree of Life has so many different animals, not just bugs carved into it. So I like that. I think it would be cool. So thank you at Live Learn Dream Magic for that suggestion, because that'd be really fun.
Yes,
I could get the next one if you want to get the next one.
Yeah, go for it.
The next one. So I put this down, and usually I'm very thorough. With this one, I didn't. I wasn't thorough. I could see, and I love this ride. I love Star Tours. I actually think I like it more than Millennium Falcon Smuggler's Run because you're experiencing it, not just crashing because you're really bad at it. So I do love Star Tours so much. I love all the different places you could see, but
good update.
It's weird that it's not in Star Wars. I remember when Star Wars Galaxy's Edge was opening, I was like, oh, what are they going to do to Star Tours? Well, it's still there, and it kind of feels like kind of weird.
Place.
I originally was like, oh, that'd be cool if we could see like a Marvel thing come to it. But then they did Marvel Land. So I'm like, okay, well, now Marvel's over here, Star Wars over here, and then Star Tours is just right here. So I said, I could see in the future them changing this to another like adventure or like action property if something hits for the studio that fits within the Tomorrow theme. But I couldn't figure it out because nothing really sounds good currently.
Yeah,
so this is where
you
you guys come in. If you're listening on YouTube or if you're listening on a podcasting platform, go to YouTube. Let us know in the comments below what you would do. I wouldn't be sad if it never got changed because I do love Star Tours, even though I get sick on it. But it's still a classic. That was the first Star Wars attraction in the Disney park. So I'd be fine if they left it, but I could see them in the future being like, how could we repurpose this? Because we already have a similar ride system in Smuggler's Run. And hopefully Smuggler's Run, they always talked about different adventures and missions you would go on, and it's still been the same one ever since. So hopefully that gets a little bit of an update. But I do think Star Tours could change in the future.
I agree. And it would be sad to see it go. I think we all love it, but it would make sense, I think, for it to switch at some point, because having it there when there's already a whole land dedicated to Star Wars, it just kind of feels wrong at this point.
Yeah.
So who knows what it could or would be, but let us know if you have any ideas.
For sure.
The next one we are talking about is the Grand Fiesta Tour switching to Coco, which I feel like is a pretty common thing talked about. I think a lot of people have said that this would be a good switch. I could totally see it happening. And I liked the Grand Fiesta Tour.
I do too. I love
cute.
Donald and the
it was fun, and it's nostalgic because that's a cartoon that's been around forever. Yeah. So, anything that's nostalgic like that is kind of hard to see it go, even though we've only been on the ride once. I think a lot of people probably love it and would be really sad to see it go. But Coco would make a lot of sense there in the Mexico Pavilion. I think it would be so perfect in that spot. I could see the line getting really crazy.
That'd be weird, because
that area is
pavilion.
Kind of not like there's congested, but it could get a little crazy if people are like crowding the new ride. I don't know.
And it's such a short ride that I feel like Coco does deserve better. But how amazing would it be to be like just in the Mexico Pavilion? Do you want to go on a Coco ride, or should we grab like some tequila and some Mexican food? Like that whole, I love that building so much.
Yeah, it's so cool.
Like street market.
Yeah, it really feels like you're in like
so awesome.
It's like cave-like almost, because it's dark in there all the time, even when it's the middle of the day.
Yeah,
I remember we got to cool off so nicely in there when
avocado margarita.
It was so good, and it was such a nice little way to chill out for a bit when we were in Epcot. So yeah, I don't know. I could see it changing for sure. But Jordan the Swan said they should replace the Boardwalk Games section in Pixar with a Coco Dark ride.
Yeah.
I think that's a cool idea for sure.
Yeah.
That whole area does feel a little bit lost, I guess. I mean, like they could do more with it for sure. It's cute and it's fitting for like a boardwalk theme. But I don't think it gets really utilized that much. I mean, I don't really commonly see people there playing the games. So I feel like they could pretty easily just take a bunch of stuff out and put something a little more applicable there.
It would be really cool. I mean, it would make sense to be put into Pixar Pier. And I think, the boardwalk game section would be a perfect place to put that. I mean, it would be kind of like a linear ride, unless they were able to like kind of build something on the back of that. But it would be so awesome to add like one whole new Coco Dark ride in that section, and Pixar Pier where it belongs. Yeah,
exactly. And I feel like this is all just saying there needs to be something Coco.
Yes,
because
Coco is like the last
parks.
amazing Pixar movie. I feel like
exactly. That's how I feel. The last Pixar movie that truly blew me out of the water and is still a favorite. Was Coco, and I don't think that there's enough representation of Coco in the parks yet.
Wait, technically, did Toy Story 4 come after Coco? I'm trying to remember. Okay, there might have been some other ones, but Coco as original.
I still think that Coco is better than Toy Story 4. Personally, I don't know. Yeah. I mean, Toy Story 3 and Coco are pretty even for me, but 4. Yeah, I don't know.
Coco
I'm on the fence.
Especially being an original. But
yes, exactly. So we need some more Coco in the parks.
Yeah,
is what we're saying
for sure. The next one, at Stitched After All, amazing Disney Mickey ears. If Mickey and Minnie ears. Go check her out because she's amazing. Not only does she do amazing things, but she is amazing. We got to finally hang out with her a few months ago.
Yeah.
But we had so much fun, and she does some killer ears. So definitely go check her out at Stitched After All. And she said, Finding Nemo and Autopia just need to be demolished and built for something else. And I added here, is that where Tron goes? Do we bring Light Cycle over here?
Could be.
And so, yeah, I mean, I love seeing Finding Nemo. I love seeing the water right by the Matterhorn. That's so beautiful. But I think I would trade those two rides for something big if we get that in Tomorrowland. Bring some more kinetic energy and beautiful lights to Tomorrowland. Something that actually feels spacey.
Of work.
Because of the water.
Yeah, just how much space they would need to be working on.
I know. And also the monorail track is there.
Yeah.
In the middle. So, yeah.
That would be a tough one to... They could do it probably, but I think they would have to close that area off for a long time. Yeah. I mean, think about how long it's taken for Tron to get built.
I know. So long.
That would be intense.
Yeah.
In Disneyland because we just have such... smaller space to work with. It'll be crazy, but maybe one day it's gonna happen. I feel like if Tron hits hard the way I'm pretty sure it will, it could end up here too. We'll see. I don't know, but I agree that would be a cool
pretty
spot.
awesome to see for sure.
Next, at Ashley Belle Marie said we need an up themed ride in DCA. So maybe Silly Symphony Swings or Jumping Jellyfish. That is a very cool idea. And I agree. Up has like nothing almost.
Yeah. In Animal Kingdom, like you can meet Kevin, right?
Yeah.
There's not a lot.
Meeting characters is fine, but like
Redwood Creek Challenge Trail, there's some up things, right?
Oh. Technically, I guess. Is it supposed to be kind of themed around like the Wilderness Explorers?
Yes, I believe so. And I think they come out as characters like very rarely. But yeah, we do need it doesn't feel like it. Yeah.
Like there should be something more hard hitting for Up because that is such a
I really like that idea for both of those. I think Silly Symphony Swings is a little bit closer to Pixar Pier, so that could kind of like, oh my gosh, I'm at the Inside Out ride.
Yeah.
It could have been balloons and they're going around in circles.
Oh my gosh.
Silly Symphonies, I know. Yeah. Silly Symphony Swings would be great though, because I think Pixar Pier and then Paradise Gardens Park, right? Mm-hmm. Is like cutting off right there. So you could do Silly Symphony Swings and then that stays within Pixar Pier. And then I think the Jumping Jellyfish is like technically out of Pixar Pier, but still would work if you want to do that. But imagine the Silly Symphony Swings and you hear like all the beautiful Up music while you're just kind of floating around and looking at the water. That would be really beautiful.
That would be
I think that'd be
very
pretty awesome.
fitting right there. I would love to see that.
Yeah, great suggestion.
Yes, very good suggestion.
Next up, we got another Jordan the Swan, and she said Pinocchio can become a Tangled attraction. And I love the Pinocchio ride, but I think out of all the Fantasyland attractions, dark rides, that's probably my least favorite.
Definitely at this point, because Snow White got such a cool, not retheme, sorry, but like a update. And I love it because it's so much better.
Yeah. So I think Pinocchio is probably the weakest and still probably the scariest. I mean,
it is.
I could see it. I mean, we definitely need a Tangled attraction. I love Tangled so much. So if we could do something in that space, that'd be super awesome. I
agree. Out of all the rides in Fantasyland, it could go.
I would love some Tangled representation in the park.
Yeah.
Other than that little tower you see in Fantasy Fair at Disneyland.
Yeah. And I love that area of the park. It is fun, but kind of minimal in terms of Tangled because it is such a great movie.
Yeah.
It needs a little bit more. At Mr. Make It Magical, that would be Clayton of the Make It Magical podcast.
We love you guys.
He said, does all of Tomorrowland count for needing a retheme? I'm pretty sure he has some strong opinions on Tomorrowland. I've heard some episodes where he's had some things to say. So
we should do an episode with them. Do like a huge Tomorrowland. Our ideas.
breakdown. Yeah.
Who does it better? Us or them for like the retheme. I don't like competitions.
I know
because they're
I'm not good at
amazing and I don't want to do that. But like just talking about our ideas versus their ideas and just kind of discussing would be so amazing.
That would be fun.
But they make it magical. They're
Great show.
very, very clever. So props to Emily and Clayton. But thank you, Clayton, for giving that suggestion because I think a lot of us like
we're all waiting for
theme.
something to happen in Tomorrowland.
Keep space though.
Space has to stay. There's some things about it that I think we'll always love, but definitely some stuff that is just in need of a revamp.
Yeah, for sure. Next up, this is not one that someone said, but we just thought of this. And apologies to the Journey into Imagination lovers. I'm so sorry. And I don't see them doing this right away because they are doing a Figment meet and greet.
Yeah, I don't think Figment's going anywhere for a bit.
But I heard some rumors about this a long time ago, and I feel like it would be cool, and it would kind of make sense if Journey into Imagination got a, don't hate me, but an Inside Out retheme. We could still have Figment in there. Figment could still be part of Riley's imagination. Maybe you do a Figment and Bing Bong crossover. But like,
that would be funny.
How amazing would it be, especially because they're doing Inside Out 2. Soon, not soon, probably a couple years, but I think that'd be really cool seeing like the Inside Out characters taking you along, the journey into your imagination. But they've already kind of made people mad and then happy again and just kind of mixed emotions over the two rethemes that they've already done with this ride. So I think adding another one might not be the best, but for those people that didn't grow up with Figment and don't understand him as well as other people do, and apologies to those people that love Figment, I'd be totally fine with an Inside Out retheme. I would be
cool with it too. I think, and it's very
it's fitting for that.
It's fitting and it's current, I think it's going to be applicable for a while now that they are making another movie. I think it's a good, if they were to retheme one day, I think that would be a good one to go there.
Figment lovers, don't come after us.
Please
I'm sorry. Please.
We just didn't grow up with them, okay? Anyways, moving on. We had a suggestion from @LiveLearnDreamMagic again, and she said dinosaur into Zootopia. Yeah, which would be very cool.
Especially because they already at D23 mentioned that Zootopia and or Moana could be coming to Animal Kingdom. And so, I think that would be really awesome. And like,
it would be cool.
You could do, those scenes like trying to look for what do they call them? Like the people that are kind of turning feral or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You could kind of do like a cool adventure ride through that.
Some intense parts as there are obviously in the dinosaur ride.
Yeah.
I think that would be a really fun switch of themes in that ride.
And dinosaur, although I grew up with it and loved it, it does feel pretty obsolete now. So the ride is still fun, but I could see them, especially with, I think they announced Zootopia too. And so especially with that is a little more current and I could see them doing that.
Yeah.
So I definitely think that is a possibility in the future.
I could see it too. Because I think, again, that whole area also kind of needs a little something new and current.
Well, TLC for sure.
A little something. So we'll see.
Not our favorite Disney area, but
love Animal Kingdom.
Love Animal Kingdom. Yeah. Dinoland, USA, and like surrounding areas are like the best. But yeah. So the last one we're going to be talking about here, we got 3 people who said the same thing. So I guess there's a lot of strong feelings here and a lot of haters of Aerosmith. Actually, I thought there was like some allegation that came out against Steven Tyler.
Really?
I was looking at I was like Rock and Roller Coaster, and then I saw a news article and I was like Steven Tyler did something. So I was like, maybe that's a reason why maybe people just hate Aerosmith's music. I don't know. But a lot of people are like, let's switch that thing up. We got so we originally, before people hit us up, and I think only one of them gave a suggestion. But 3 listeners said Rock and Roller Coaster needs to be changed. We got Meg Crofton, who is an amazing supporter of our show. Thank you so much for listening. At Amana with an underscore at the end. So thank you for that suggestion. Then we also got at Vianney. I really hope I'm saying that right. At Vianney Plans Magic. And she actually said a Powerline Retheme, which was one of our suggestions as well.
That's a pretty cool idea.
Powerline would be awesome, bringing in Disney property into the ride. So I definitely could see them doing that. Plus, Eye to Eye is such a
it is a great song.
Amazing track. So I could definitely see that happening. But we also had been hearing rumors about Queen coming instead of Aerosmith, and
I would be all in favor. I love Queen so much.
Yeah,
so much. Queen is amazing.
And
I don't know Aerosmith
as
much, and I would just be cool to like kind of stick with the classic rock theme, but just new band theming, and so good to have Queen. I would be pretty stoked.
Yeah, that'd be so amazing. And it's people like Queen. We should I say?
Oh,
okay, people like Queen. We actually at our wedding did a flash mob when flash mobs were a thing. And we did one to so Don't fun. Stop Me Now. And it has a good amount of views. Mm-hmm. It has a good amount of views, so we know people love Queen.
Yeah.
So if you do some if you do some research, you might be able to find that. Maybe you won't, but
or you can ask us and we can send you the link.
And we can send you the link.
Really
but
interested.
I feel like everyone loves Queen, so I think that would be cool to keep it classic rock and just do a new band. Or I could see a Powerline Retheme, and it would still be so awesome.
I think there's just a lot of different ways that they could go with Rock and Roller Coaster.
That was the one that got the most responses. So apparently people are ready for that to change. So I would agree. So. But
very fun.
Yeah, that's all we had as our list. There could be some that kind of come out of nowhere and shock everyone, kind of like Splash Mountain did for us. And a lot of these probably won't happen, but maybe there will be some that do happen.
Never know. I might be calling the future.
Yeah. We love talking about this, but we also love hearing from you guys about, what you think could be a good retheme and what you probably think won't. Just whatever topic we do, we love hearing from you guys. So
you guys have great ideas.
Yeah,
yes.
You guys really crush it. And so if you're listening on YouTube, let us know in the comments below what you would like to see. If you're listening somewhere else on a podcasting platform, definitely hit us up on Instagram. We'd love to hear your thoughts. But a major shout out to all of our listeners who gave these amazing suggestions, because I feel like these are all great.
All great
ideas.
And all like totally could see them happening. Yeah. Very good. Very good stuff. Thank you guys so much for contributing and giving us some ideas that we hadn't even thought of ourselves.
Yeah, for
good
sure.
Stuff.
Well, guys, thank you so much again for listening to our episode. We have, I think, one more week with just us, but then we have a very, very, very special guest on that we're going to have in about 2 weeks, I believe.
Super exciting.
Yeah, we're really, really excited to talk to her and hear her story. And we just know you guys are going to love it. So definitely follow us or subscribe to us so that you don't miss that episode, because it's going to be so awesome.
It is. We're so pumped that this worked out and that we get to have such an awesome person on our show.
Yeah.
To let you guys hear her story. It's going to be really awesome. So
yeah. With that, thank you guys so much again for listening, and we will see you all next week.
Bye, guys.
See ya. Bye.
See ya.